We will start the session shortly. Before we start, I request participants kindly keep your devices on mute while the presentation is going on. Switch off your videos.
Hello, Professor Bhavna. Bhavna, I've already joined.
Okay, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Okay, I was
Good
messaging.
evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Within 2 minutes, so hopefully our resource person would be joining and we'll start the session, ma'am.
Right, right.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hello, Bhavana ji. Good evening.
Oh, very good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Seeing you
How?
after a long gap. Yes, sir. How
Yes.
are you, sir?
ठीक है, fine.
हाँ
Good.
जी सर, हमारे प्रिंसिपल मैम भी हैं सर.
Yes. I've seen it. I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Glad to know that you are organizing a very big program.
yes,
Please.
sir.
Good. Very
Namaskar,
good.
sir.
नमस्कार जी.
Namaskar.
नमस्कार जी.
Namaskar. Hanji.
Sir, Sonia ma'am, I
I
think,
think she should join any moment. I think.
yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
ये भावना जी ऑफलाइन कराते हैं ना, क्या ऑनलाइन कर रहे हो?
सर एक्चुअली इन्वेस्टर वीक हमारा ऑनलाइन ही प्लान हो गया बिकॉज लास्ट 2 डेज से ऑनलाइन ही था और कॉलेज खुल गए थे स्टूडेंट्स के तो देन वी थॉट कि देन विल मे बी इन द नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर विल गो फॉर द ऑफलाइन सेशन.
और वो कैरियर अवेयरनेस कब कर रहे हो?
सर जब आप टाइम दे देंगे देन
एनी टाइम फॉर
श्योर
माय.
सर. I'll seek permission from principal ma'am and accordingly let you know.
यस, थैंक यू.
Okay, thank you, sir.
नमस्कार बरेजा जी.
नमस्कार जी. नमस्कार.
Good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
गुड इवनिंग. गुड इवनिंग जी. गुड इवनिंग राजपूत मैम.
Snehal, please take permission from principal ma'am.
With your due permission, Principal Ma'am, may we start the session?
Yeah, please start.
A very good evening to one and all present here. I, Ms. Nehal Jan, Vice President of Kaizen, the Commerce Association of Aditi Mahavidyalaya, welcome everyone to an interactive lecture series on career as a company secretary and tax planning. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our renowned resource speakers, CS J.K. Bareja sir and CS Sonia Baijal ma'am. Principal of Aditi Mahavidyalaya, Professor Mamta Sharma, Teacher in charge of Commerce Department, Professor Bhavna Rajput, all the faculty members, research scholars, office bearers of Kaizen, and the students. Now, I would like to call Teacher in charge of the Commerce Department, Professor Bhavna Rajput, to give the opening remarks of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It's with great honor and pleasure I would like to welcome our guest speaker, CS Sonia Baijal, Joint Secretary, ICSI, CS JK Bareja ji, former professor of Shamlal College, University of Delhi. I also welcome our principal, ma'am, Professor Mamta Sharma, faculty members, and my dear students to this session on career as company secretary and tax planning organized by Department of Commerce and extensive lecture series committee of the college. Friends, company secretary are in-house legal experts, which are mainly the compliance officers of the company. CS is an expert in corporate laws, securities laws, capital and corporate governance, and act as a corporate planner and strategic manager. In the first session, CS Sonia Baijal will initiate the discussion on career opportunities and challenges of CS as a profession. The second session will be on tax planning by CS JK Bareja ji, which is an initiative to celebrate World Investor Week, which is observed from 10th October to 16th October, and also to raise awareness about the importance of investor education in context to tax planning. The payment of taxes can be the major source of stress for the individuals and institution, but is inevitable. However, with the proper planning, one is able to reduce the tax burden. Tax planning is an integral activity conducted by every person earning through salary, professional, or other activities and is also managed by all the organization in India. Tax planning is a focal part of financial planning and wealth management. It ensures savings on taxes while conforming to the legal obligations. The primary concept of tax planning is to save money and mitigate tax burden. The efficient tax planning reduces legal hassles and helps to channelize taxable income to various investment opportunities. Without tax planning, many taxpayers may miss potential tax benefit and may be required to pay more taxes. But with a proper tax planning, one is able to take advantage of deductions, rebates, concession, and even exemptions under tax laws. The tax planning help us to save money for better future, grow business, and gives protection from many legal penalties. It makes it easier to build wealth and afford things that one desires and enables individuals and organizations to contribute towards economic well-being of the country. In today's session, we will gain insights of tax planning and CS as a career. We will also take up questions towards the end of the session. So please free to type them all in the chat box. And I'm sure that the session will provide the valuable and engaging content to all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Let us now welcome a woman who is well known among all of us for her wisdom and knowledge, our admirable Principal Ma'am, Professor Mamta Sharma. She is a university rank holder and has been teaching chemistry for the last 3 decades after completing her PhD from University of Delhi. She has published widely in the journals of national and international repute. She is the recipient of the Research Associate Award from UGC, Icon of Higher Education Award 2019, and an Outstanding Educator of the Year Award for service towards persons with disability. She has completed various research projects and organized numerous national and international conferences as a convener and resource person. Now, I request Principal Ma'am to kindly address the students. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Once again, it's my immense pleasure to address you all. So today, we are again here together for another webinar on the topic tax planning and career as a company secretary. And we have CS J.K. Bareja ji, former professor, Shamlal College, University of Delhi, CS Sonia Baijal, Joint Secretary, ICSI. I welcome you both as resource persons. In simple words, tax planning is an analysis of financial situation or plan to ensure that all the elements work together to allow you to pay the lowest taxes possible. Advantage of tax planning are to minimize the litigation, to reduce the tax liabilities, to ensure economic stability. The planning is important as it makes easier to build your personal finances and afford the things that you want. There are some limitations and ways to tax planning, which also will be discussed further in this session. And second is the career as a company secretary. A company secretary is a position in a citizen sector establishment and also known as the compliance officers. It is one of the positions that is part of the key managerial personnel of any company. A company secretary is responsible for the efficient administration of the company, particularly with regard to ensuring compliance with statutory and regulatory requirements, and the students who have completed their 10+2 are eligible to pursue this course, and the company secretary course duration can be from 3 to 5 years. How it is a career option and what are the advantages and disadvantages, what is the salary, and further more will be discussed in the session. So today, we all will get to know about this, and I'm very sure this will help you in your future prospects, in your career and other things. To this short introduction about the topic, our resource persons will discuss about this and resolve all your queries as and when they come. I wish you all the best. Listen well, ask your doubts, enhance your knowledge, and gain as much as you can. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for your energizing words. Now, I request everyone to please switch on your camera for taking the screenshot. Thank you, everyone. Now you can switch off your camera. Now, I take the opportunity to introduce our first resource speaker of this interactive lecture series, CS Sonia Baijal, Joint Secretary, ICSI. She is a company secretary and CMA. Presently, she is working as a regional director at Northern Region of ICSI. She has more than 25 years of experience. I request you, ma'am, to kindly proceed with the session on career as CS. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Snehal. Thanks a lot for the nice introduction. Honorable Professor Mamta Sharma ji, Principal Aditya Mahavidyalaya, Professor Bhavna Rajput, Teacher in Charge, Department of Commerce, Dr. Neetu, Dr. Sunita, Miss Lovely, other faculty members of Aditya Mahavidyalaya, Professor J.K. Bareja, and my dear students. A very good evening to all of you. I really feel privileged to be part of such a knowledge sharing session. And I am thankful, especially to the Professor Mamta Sharma, Principal Ma'am, for giving us an opportunity to enlighten our students on the various opportunities available to them on the career path. At the outset, I would also like to share that this knowledge sharing session is constituted by Government of India. It comes with affairs. So we have an onus on us on the social obligation also to apprise our students that how they should go forward on their career path and the various options available to them. You must be having programs and knowledge sharing session of other institutions also. So this is also an added step to that moment. Just to give you a brief of ICSI, as I said that it is an statutory body. It comes under jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The basic purpose of constituting ICSI, the acronym used for the Institute of Company Secretaries of India is ICSI. ICSI has been set up to regulate and develop the profession of company secretaries. ICSI has its headquarters at Lodi Road, New Delhi. We have 4 regional offices across India, Northern, Southern, Eastern and Western region. And we have our offices at Rajendra Place, New Delhi. Then we have our office at Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai. The institute, apart from this, the 4 regional offices, we have Center of Excellence also, which you would be, which after the pursuing this company secretaryship course, we also go forward with the high level courses apart from the basic company secretaryship course in these centers. At present, the total count of numbers of ICSI is 3,000 around. We have 2 streams of the profession. One is in, you all know that when you get engaged to some firm or a company, you are in employment. But if you are pursuing for the entrepreneurship, then you can practice you on your own like an advocate or like a chartered accountant or any insurance surveyor or architecture. You can have your own practice area also. So there are 2 streams available after qualifying this company secretaryship course. At present, ICSI has around 3 lakh students registered with it who are at various stages of the CS course. I'll be apprising you about the various stages. To begin with, the 12th pass students, they can enter into an entrance test, qualify it, and then they can direct take admission in company secretaryship course. I am talking about the students who are at present at 12th standard. they can they can qualify an entrance test, and then they can take admission on passing the entrance test. That entrance test is a very simple process. It's just it involves economics, logical reasoning. It involves viva voce is also there for 15 minutes, just to have that just to have a glimpse of the soft skills and other attributes you are having. And after that, you can take admission in CS course. Just for your knowledge, although the gathering is undergraduate only, but just for your knowledge, I'll be telling you that the persons who are already graduate, they can straightforward take admission in CS course. They need not qualify any CSET entrance examination. After you qualify the examination or you directly take admission in CS course, there are 4 modules that you have to qualify. As principal ma'am also told you, that it generally takes minimum of 3 years and maximum of 5 years, even if, because there are few stages, some time gap is also required in registration, and sometimes the students are not interested to take an examination at a particular time period, maybe because of the clash with other courses, or otherwise also they are not in a condition to join to give the examination. Then they can always switch it over to the next session. There is no binding that you have to appear in each and every course, in each and every examination. The examinations are usually held in June and December. Every June and December there are examinations 6 monthly. You can opt for, there are 4-5 groups also, so you can opt for appearing in the groups together also, or one by one group wise also you can appear. After that, we have few mandatory training programs also. Like, once you register yourself for CS course, you have to go through 1-day orientation program, in which we usually wish that the students come to our premises at various offices. I would also like to add on this point that institute also has 72 chapters, 72 offices across India. So wherever the student is, from whichever portion or part of India the student is appearing in the in CS course, so they can go to the respective offices of ICSI and have this orientation program for them. Apart from that, we have a good practical training exposure also for the students, which really prepares them to face the industry challenges, face the industry as such. In such a way, there is overall grooming of the students in such a way that apart from a strong course curriculum, there is also the training requirements, which are very easy to undergo. There is no compulsion as such. Earlier we had different training requirements, which was causing a little hurdle to the students in appearing, because then they have to take a break also sometime, and generally the students are not in a position to have a break, even if they are doing some other courses. There is some clash of examination dates, etc. So what we have done now is that after passing a certain level, that is executive level, because we have 2 levels, one is executive level and one is final level, which is known as professional examination. So after executive level, up to student has to undergo a particular training requirement, in which the institute provides all efforts, all infrastructure to them to undergo that training structure. As you must be aware that this is a distance learning course, and we have also taken all the efforts to give a feel of campus-like environment to the students by giving them training at our offices. Coming to the scope of company secretaries, what are there? Basically, every listed company, they have to appoint a company secretary as compliance officer. The Companies Act 2013, all must be aware of, that they also prescribe a certain threshold limit of paid-up capital, which requires the companies to appoint a whole-time company secretary. And further, the Act also prescribes a limit in which they have to take the services of a practicing company secretary. They need not employ a full-time company secretary, but they can employ a part-time company secretary they can take the services of a practicing company secretary. As I told you, those who are pursuing their career as an entrepreneur. The work profile of the company secretary, if he is in employment, is generally of a compliance officer, taking care of all the compliances a company is required to take under the statutes and other social obligations also. Nowadays, the company secretaries, they are also known as the governance professionals, and they are very nicely contributing to the governance architecture of the companies and giving a strong pillar, acting as a strong pillar of the organization. They can also be appointed, company secretary can also be appointed as a key managerial personnel along with the managing director of the company and the CFO of a company, chief financial officer of the company. Then company secretaries are also acting as the GST professionals. They can also act as arbitrators. They can perform the social audit. They can act as risk manager of the company for mergers and amalgamation and corporate researching solution professionals. Apart from that, they can also appear as a they can also provide the representational services, and they can also appear before the various tribunals. It is Securities Appellate Tribunal, also other tribunals also. They can also represent the company on this forum. Coming to the institute also helps the students in their placement, generally, the various offices of ICSI, along with this regional offices, we organize placement drives for the students on regular intervals. And the students who qualify also, or at various stages of their course, they can also apply for the placement services, and we are always there to support them. So, in a nutshell, if you have an temperament for the legal side of the profession, the company secretary is the best course you can pursue. Nowadays, many girls are also coming forward to join this course because the placement of the course is on the higher pedestal. And apart from that, the environment and the work profile, it's like when you interact with the board members, it gives you a reputation and you are able to place yourself in the organizational hierarchy very high. So this is all about the CS course I wish to share with you. I am there for answering to your queries if they are. So I once again thanks Aditi Mahavidyalaya for giving us an opportunity for this knowledge sharing session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Snehal.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. Students are now requested to post their queries in the chat box. First question is from Manisha. She asked, what do you think are the most important skills a company secretary should have?
Okay. The most important skills, I think the communication skills. When you are interacting with the board members, because company secretary is faced of any organization to the stakeholders, be it shareholders, be it vendors, be it the managements, be it the board of directors, be it the independent directors. The communication skills, those should be very, very strong. And then I will say that the knowledge, there is always there in every profession that knowledge has to be above everything. So knowledge sharing, the empathy is also very important for this profession, as you have to interact with the various stakeholders, particularly if you are employed in a listed company or if you are giving services as in self-entrepreneur to the various organizations. So that understanding has to be there. And I would say the basic requirement is the knowledge acquiring and the dispensation of that knowledge, as well as the communication skills.
Sunita wants to know how to prepare for CS interview round.
I think for CS interview round, you need not to have much of the preparations if you have the knowledge with you. Because generally, It revolves around mostly about the company secretaryship course. But yes, once you register yourself for this course, I would suggest you that apart from the secretarial work and the compliance officer work, you need to identify one strong area of your subject area. Like I have said many years, like GST is there, arbitration is there, insolvency is there, corporate restructuring, merger amalgamation. There are various streams. So if you, there is FEMA also. So if you acquire knowledge or choose one specialization subject for you, so it would be very, very easy for you to appear for any interview and crack it. The only thing is that you need to be confident.
Rinki wants to know how to join such internships.
Internships is, as I told you, that it is now after the executive level. So after executive level, the offices of NIRC as well as ICSI, they organize various training drives in which you have to register yourself, the companies and the firm of company secretaries, those entities who are registered with ICSI for imparting training. They will also come, and the students are also required to appear for the interviews, and then they get themselves enrolled as the trainee with various organizations and firms. For this, ICSI facilitate its students for the internships.
Ruchi wants to know what are the advantages and disadvantages of multiple inheritance.
Can you repeat it, Snehal? Advantages and disadvantages of
Multiple inheritance.
multiple inheritance. I'll request the student to kindly clarify. I'm not able to get it.
Ma'am, due to some network problem,
No
she is not
issues. You
able.
can always share such questions with us on the email ID. Himanshu Sharma,
Yes,
my
sure.
colleague, he has already shared with you. And we can also, we can clarify the doubts of the students on email also.
Yes, ma'am. Ishika wants to know what does success in this position look like for you?
Success in this position.
Look like for you.
Look like for you. I think this course is a very, very, I say, can place you on a very high pedestal. The hierarchy ladder is very strong because whenever you get an employment in a company, you are always there as at least as an assistant company secretary. And since I have told you that since the board of directors, all agenda management, all compliances, everything has to be taken care of the company secretary, and all the departments of the organization also move through the company secretaryship about from the company secretary only. They move along with them or through them only to the board. So in my view, it's a very successful course, and whosoever, because we have seen many people in our in as a company secretary who are doing very good in the organizations. In some of the companies, the best salary, the as per the salary package, they are the number one to get that particular package. And on the public front, public image, social image, you can say that company secretaries, they have gained momentum as governance professionals, and they enjoy a very reputed position in the society also.
Natisha Khurana wants to know how we can improve our communication skills.
You know, practice makes a man perfect, and that is my answer to that. For achieving a certain target, certain position, you have to work very hard, and nothing can replace your hard work. You, if you are not able to do it on your own, you can have a professional help also. And if you join CS course, we are always there to improve upon it.
Lakshmi asks, what do you think your biggest challenge will be in this position?
Biggest challenge is sometimes about if you are in employment, definitely you have to listen to the various stakeholders, particularly the board members. In some companies, as the work challenges are always there in every profession, in company secretaries profession is also there, but we have always taught our students and we groom our students to perform ethically. Ethics is the only solution to everyone. The motto of ICSI is also Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. So we groom our professionals, and for that we also share many tips also with our students that how to progress and perform in this, materialistic corporate world.
It looks like we have covered quite many queries. Thank you, ma'am, for taking up the doubts of the students.
Thank you so
Now,
much, Maya. Pleasure.
now taking the discussion further ado, I would like to introduce our next speaker, CS J.K. Bareja sir. He had completed his MCom, MPhil, LLB from Delhi University. He was a former professor in the Department of Commerce at Shyamlal College, University of Delhi. He has written books on industrial law and income tax. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India for the last 30 years. Now, I request you, sir, to kindly proceed with the session on tax planning. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Respected faculty members, Sonia ji, and the young student. Uh, it's really a proud privilege for me to join all of you this evening to talk on a topic about the tax planning. And in the context of the Investor Week, which is being celebrated by your college, it's really a big event. All the credit, I will salute the college and the entire Commerce Department, the society to organize this Investor Week. And when you organize Investor Week, the tax planning plays a very important role. As Principal Ma'am was also talking about that when you invest, you also have to keep into account the taxation part of the investment. All of us, we study, we do graduation, then we do professional courses, we go for job, we go for practice. Ultimately, our aim is to get success in the life. And once we get success, we definitely earn money. Simultaneously, we also have to plan where do we invest our money. And when we uh, see where to invest the money, we should not forget the taxation part also of that investment angle. Taxation and investment angles are both are important and they go side by side. So whenever you are doing any investment planning, investor week, one has to keep in mind the taxation policies, taxation planning also has to be done. Now, coming to the specific topic, for example, nowadays when I talk to the number of people who are working, anywhere they are working, they put their money in the bank FD. Fixed depositors, fixed deposits are done. If you, young student, if you talk to your parents, I'm 100% sure most of the family members they put their money in the bank FD. Yes, it is 100% safe, but the trouble is that whatever interest you get on that, that interest income is taxable. You have to pay tax on the basis of the slab rate, which is applicable to you. I think I should be fortunate enough. All the students who are part of the seminar, they are either second year or third year student. They must have read about income tax. Either they must be reading in second year or they must have read if they are in the third year. So FD interest income is taxable. So we have to keep in mind that nowadays, if you talk about the FD interest income, that's very hardly 6 to 7% one gets, and out of that you have to pay tax either at 20% slab or 30% slab. So after payment of the real return which you get is very insignificant. Now, one of the good ways to save tax is the one can take the benefit of deduction under Section 80C. I repeat, one can take the benefit of deduction under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act 1961. Any assessee, whether that assessee is in business or profession or in salary, anyone can take the advantage of deduction under Section 80C. As all of you must be knowing, deduction under Section 80C, maximum deduction is 2 lakh. That 2 lakh is divided into two parts. 1,50,000 is meant for lot of investment revenues, and the last 50,000 of that is meant only for NPS. I repeat, out of 2 lakh, last 50,000 is meant only for National Pension Scheme. So if one wants to take the benefit of deduction of 2 lakh under Section 80C, one will have to invest 50,000 rupees in National Pension Scheme. Then only one can get the full benefit of 2 lakh. And what are the instruments which are available for 1,50,000? You must be knowing LIC premium is very common. Then all of you, I think your parents must have also opened Sukanya account. Sukanya account can be opened in the name of the girl child. So any parent depositing in the name of Sukanya account, public provident fund account, that is also there, recognized provident fund, national saving certificate, equity linked saving scheme of the mutual fund, and then repayment of housing loan. If one takes the housing loan, the principal part of that is allowed as a deduction under Section 80C. So 1,50,000 covers a lot of investment revenues. These I have told you about that. And the last 50,000 is meant for only National Pension Scheme. So now the benefit is that suppose anyone who is having a taxable income, I repeat, anyone is having a taxable income of 10 lakh and that assessee saves 2 lakh and the entire 2 lakh is allowed as a deduction in Section 80C. So that means out of 10 lakh taxable income, 8 lakh will be reduced and the taxable income will be called as 8 lakh rupees. Out of 10 lakh is the total income. 2 lakh one gets a deduction for doing saving under various instruments of 80C. So the taxable income will get reduced to 8 lakh. So that's very popular method one can follow for doing tax planning in the sense that you save 2 lakh, you have to save 2 lakh and then you get a deduction of 2 lakh. That's number one. Second, which I think everyone should avail of that, is the Mediclaim premium. Now we have seen COVID-19 was a kind of a big challenge for the entire world. So any kind of a casualty can come. So we must ensure our medical insurance. We must take our medical insurance is a must in nowadays situation. So for that, one can take a Mediclaim policy. And if you take a Mediclaim policy and you pay a premium on that, you get a deduction up to 25,000 rupees under Section 80D, D for Delhi. So one can take a deduction of up to 25,000 rupees under Section 80D. So you have to pay premium. Say anyone pays premium of 25,000 rupees for Mediclaim, and then entire 25,000 rupees will be allowed as a deduction under Section 80D. And if parents are also included, then this deduction can go up to 50,000 rupees. But in normal situation, we say for a family, deduction under Section 80D is allowed up to 25,000 rupees, and that is straight away allowed as a deduction. The third deduction, which is very common, I think, which may not be relevant to you, is that interest on loan for higher education. All of you are pursuing graduation now, and I wish you should continue with your further studies. So if you continue with further studies, for that you may have to take a loan also. So the advantage is that suppose you take an admission in some bigger institution where the fees is very high, and if you pay fees for that and you take an education loan. Now for education loan, for 2 years you do the study. After you get the job, then only you will have to pay back to the bank. For first 2 years, once you are doing study, you don't have to pay anything to the bank. Once you get the job, you start repaying principal as well as the interest amount. The benefit is that once you get a job and you start repaying that education loan, whatever interest amount you are paying, that interest amount will be allowed as a deduction under Section 80E. E for England, under Section 80E, the entire interest amount is allowed as a deduction if that loan was taken for higher education purposes. The next deduction which one can claim is under section 80G. Now in COVID, now since there was a lot of problem for the entire world, so sometimes we do some kind of a, we consider our it to be a responsibility that we must give some kind of a donation to government. Like PM Cares Fund is there, Prime Minister National Defense Fund is there. So if we give kind of some kind of a donation to either government funds or to a religious institution, it may be a mandir, it can be a gurdwara, it can be a masjid, it can be a church. So whatever donation you are giving to a approved body, for that also a deduction is allowed under section 80G. Under section 80G, in certain cases the deduction is 100%, and in certain cases the deduction is 50% of the donation. Then next deduction is under section 80TTA. I repeat, under section 80TTA, interest on saving bank account. Now, whatever interest we earn on saving bank account, that interest is allowed as a deduction up to 10,000 rupees for a person who is less than 60 years of age. So the deduction under section 80TTA is up to 10,000 rupees for any assessee up to the age of 60. That means that assessee is not a senior citizen. But if the assessee is a senior citizen, then the deduction can go up to 50,000. Under section 80TTA, deduction is 10,000. Deduction under section 80TB is 50,000 for senior citizen. And for senior citizen, it will include interest on saving bank, interest on FD, and interest on RD. So one can take the benefit of deduction under section 80TTA or 80TTB. So these are the deduction one can claim, and one can do some kind of a tax planning to reduce the taxes. Apart from that, now there are certain other tax planning methods also one can do. For example, house. If any one of you at any time go for purchase of a house or construction of a house, say you are now studying, maybe after 2, 3, 4 years you get a job, and then you intend to take a house for yourself or your family. It's always advisable to buy or construct the house by taking a housing loan. Now, what is the benefit is that housing loans are available at a very reasonable rate of interest. If you, in today's situation, you see nowadays most of the banks are offering housing loan at the rate of 8% per annum. So the rate is not so big, 8% per annum. But the advantage is that whatever interest you pay on the housing loan, if the house is self-occupied, then deduction up to 2 lakh. You take a housing loan, you purchase the house, you start living in the house, you pay interest on the housing loan. If interest is up to 2 lakh, entire 2 lakh will be allowed as a deduction from your total income. Say, for example, if you are working as a if you are working in an organization getting a salary of 1 lakh per month, your total salary income is 12 lakh. And out of that, 2 lakh you have paid as interest on housing loan. So out of 12 lakh, 2 lakh will be straight away allowed as a deduction because you have paid 2 lakh rupees as interest on housing loan. Then remaining income is 10 lakh. Then again, you can take the benefit of section 80C, 80D, 80E, 80G, and 80TTA. So it's always advisable to buy or construct the house while taking a housing loan so that you can get the benefit of interest on housing loan till your housing loan is repaid. Another tax planning one can do is with regard to long-term capital gain. Now, whenever you buy any asset, in certain situation, you can have a long-term capital gain. Long-term capital gain can come in the case of, for example, shares. You have to hold them for 1 year. For house, you have to hold it for 2 years. Gold, you have to hold it for 3 years and then sell it. So try to see that you should have a long-term capital gain whenever you are holding any asset. If it is possible, you should make it a long-term capital asset and then sell it or transfer it so that you can have a long-term capital gain. So the advantage is that if you have a long-term capital gain in certain cases, you may not be required to pay any tax. You may have to invest that amount for purchase of, let's say, house. You sell a house. If you buy another house, the entire long-term capital gain of first house may not be taxable. You sell shares. You have a long-term capital gain. You can buy a house. The entire long-term capital gain on sale of shares may not be taxable. You are holding gold, ornament, jewelry. You hold it for 3 years and then you dispose, then you sell it. Whatever long-term capital gain you have, you may not be required to pay any tax on the long-term capital gain if you invest long-term capital gain for the purchase of a house or you invest in NHAI or REC bonds. So for long-term capital gains, since you have kept the asset for a period of more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in certain cases, Income Tax Act gives you certain benefits that long-term capital gain, either you need not pay any tax, or if at all you pay tax at a lower slab. For example, in the case of long-term capital gain on sale of shares, the tax rate is just 10%. Just 10% is the tax rate on long-term capital gain on share, and that too after 1 lakh of long-term capital gain. First 1 lakh of long-term capital gain on sale of share is totally exempt from tax. Long-term capital gain on sale of land, on sale of house, on sale of gold, jewelry is taxable at 20% only, irrespective of your other incomes. So the long-term capital gain have been given lot of concessions. So when you talk about tax planning, it's always desirable that if there is a choice to have a short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain, it's always advisable that we should always go for long-term capital gain because there are a lot of benefits, concession, exemption, which are available to long-term capital gain. Short-term capital gain, no benefit is available except for the fact that it is taxed at 15% of the total short-term capital gain. So this in all, when we do any kind of investment, whether it is a investment in stock market, investment in primary market, secondary market, investment in mutual fund, investment in ETF, or investment in gold, investment in real estate, or investment in land, we must keep into mind the tax planning. Because if you don't plan, if you don't do tax planning in advance, whatever profit or capital gain you are making, it may not be of any use to you because you may have to pay a lot of income tax. And now with this computerization software, now it's very difficult to do tax evasion. That is really impossible to do any kind of a tax evasion. So it's always better we should plan our investment in such a way that we pay the minimum tax on the earnings which we make out of the investment. So I think this is in all I wanted to share. There are a lot of other points also, but I will be happy to answer your queries with regard to any of these points or any other point with regard to tax planning. I wish all of you that you should be tax expert, you should be investment expert, so that you can do your investment planning and tax planning yourself. Thank you very much. All the best to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sparing some time from your busy schedule to impart knowledge on the topic. Your words have benefited everyone presented here. Students are now requested to post their queries in the chat box. There is a question from Shreya Agrawal. Taking inflation in mind, what should be our desired interest rate for our sitting money?
Very simply that, if the inflation is around, let's say 7%, if you are getting around 12%, 13%, that is if your interest income is less than 7%, that means you are not getting any interest, any real interest or real gain out of that. If inflation is 7% and you are getting a return of 8%, the reality that you are getting just 1% interest. So the best scenario will be if inflation is 7%, try to get a return of around 13 to 14%, so that your real rate of return is around 6 to 10%. So whatever over and above inflation you can earn, that is your real interest, that should be your goal.
Next question is from
Yes.
Next question is from Ruchi. She asks, what is the maximum amount that I can save from income tax?
Maximum amount, that is 2 lakh rupees you can save in ATC. In ATD, I told you 25,000 rupees. ATTTA, 10,000. And then donation. It depends on the donation. How much donation you are going to give to a mandir, gurdwara, masjid or church, or to a national government fund. And so these are some of the examples. Then the rest, it depends on how much you intend to give donation at a slab. But 2 lakh ATC and 25,000 rupees in ATD and 10,000 in ATTTA. So that is the definitely you can say. The rest reduction will depend on whether you are giving donation, you have taken any education loan or not. Yes.
Next question is from Shreya. She asked, as the government has legalized crypto by putting taxation over it, can you please elaborate in brief about the crypto taxation?
The crypto taxation, as you have already told me the answer, crypto will be taxed at 30% slab. Whatever profit you make on the cryptocurrency, it shall be taxable at 30%, 30 slab. Just one single slab is there, 30%. That answer you already given me in your question.
Anushka asks, what things should we prioritize at first while tax planning?
The after tax return should be more than the inflation rate. I repeat, after payment of tax, your return should be more than the inflation rate. If inflation is 7%, and if your after payment of tax, your return is more than 7%, then you should be happy. That should be your motto.
Vrinda asks, is there any asset which is not liable for tax?
Public Provident Fund, PPF. If you can deposit maximum 1,50,000 rupees in your PPF account. Whatever interest you get on that interest income is totally exempt from tax. So that is the tax planning one can do. Only Public Provident Fund deposit. That's all. Only one.
Anuba wants to know, what is your view on NPS and the additional tax benefits that one can gain from it?
NPS is definitely a very good option. One should always take the benefit of additional 50,000 rupees deduction under Section 80C. I told you, deduction under Section 80C is 2 lakh. Last 50,000 is meant only for NPS. One should always take the benefit of NPS because you get a deduction of additional deduction of 50,000 rupees in ATC, and then over a period of time, this 50,000 rupees every year in NPS will become a very big amount at the age of 60, where you can have a very good life, kind of an annuity at the age of 60. So NPS is a good investment option, as well as you reduce your taxable income by 50,000 rupees.
Preeti wants to know, what should be the approach to tax savings?
To tax?
Tax savings.
Can you repeat?
What should be the approach to taxes savings?
Approach should be, you should get a maximum return. Like, for example, in section 80C, the one option is you pay LIC premium, and second option is to go for equity linked savings scheme of mutual fund. So for both investment, you get a reduction under section 80C. I will say don't go for LIC premium. Deposit 1,50,000 in ELSS, equity linked savings scheme of the mutual fund. You get a reduction of 1,50,000 rupees, but your return in ELSS will be far better as compared to the return you are going to get in LIC.
There is another question from Shreya Agrawal. She asked, as you told about the long and short-term benefit from stock market, please elaborate few more examples of short-term income tax and long-term income tax so that we won't suffer extra tax just by not knowing this fact related to our day-to-day life.
Now, this is with regard to the asset you hold. If you buy shares, you buy mutual fund, you buy land, you buy building, you buy gold, all these are capital assets. Now, when you sell them, there will be either a short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain. I repeat, for shares, you must hold it for 12 months, then it becomes a long-term. For house, you must hold it for 2 years, it becomes a long-term. For jewelry, you must hold it for 3 years, then it becomes a long-term. You are owning debentures, you should own them for 3 years, it becomes a long-term. So it's always better, any capital asset you are holding, make it first a long-term capital asset. So if it is a long-term capital asset, and it depends on the holding period, it can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. After that you sell it, it is a long-term capital gain, and then you will have a long-term capital gain. And if you have a long-term capital gain, you get all benefits, concession, exemptions, lower tax rate on long-term capital gain. So when you do any investment, you have to keep in mind that your capital asset should be held so as to make it as a long-term capital asset. That is the answer for that.
It looks like we have covered quite many queries. Thank you, sir, for taking up the doubts of the students. Now, I request Miss Lovely Ma'am to express formal vote of thanks.
Snehal, instead of Lovely Ma'am, I think she's preoccupied. Dr. Parul Goel would propose vote of thanks. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you, Bhavna ma'am. Thank you. Uh, Thank you, Sneha. Good evening, everyone. It is my privilege that I have been asked to propose a vote of thanks in front of you all. So, I, Dr. Parul Goel, in behalf of Commerce Department of Aditi Mahavidyalaya, would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to CS J.K. Bareza sir. In fact, I have sometimes attended the seminar of the sir also earlier also. And CS Sonia ma'am. I really thank both of you for giving us your valuable time and enlightening our students with your guidance, sir and ma'am. I would also like to thank Dr. Shikha Gupta, Security Market Trainer of SEBI, CDSL, a resource person for day 1, Ms. Shalija Mishra, Trainer, BFSI Industry for day 2, for giving us their precious time and sharing their expertise in the financial markets. I would also like to thank our principal ma'am, Professor Mamta Sharma, for gracing this session with her presence. I take this opportunity to thank our TIC ma'am, Professor Bhavna Rajput ma'am, for her minute-to-minute guidance and support. I thank all the faculty members, Professor Rajiv Kaur, Professor Anu Jain, Professor Hema Gupta, Dr. Neetu Dabas, Dr. Sunita Dhiya, Dr. Parul Chopra, Ms. Shashi Kumari, Ms. Rashi Paliwal, Ms. Indu, and Ms. Lovely for beautifully coordinating this week of investors. I thank all the officer bearers of Kaizen, Snehal Jain, Vice President, for coordinating the sessions, very beautifully organized sessions, Snehal. Vanshika Goyal, President, for all the technical assistance. Kushi Bajaj, Associate Vice President for YouTube Live Streaming. Mansi, Vrishti, Tanishka, Himanshi, Nishita, Vanya, Karuna, and Beauty Kumari for beautifully coordinating with and making sure in the completion of this event very much successfully. Thank you all once again. Thank you very much. Over to you,
And
Sneha.
also many thanks to Himanshu Sharma sir for coordinating the resource person for today's session.
Thank you, Himanshu sir. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of the whole Commerce Department. Our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
We look forward for many such deliberations, sir, in future.
Yes, yes. Welcome. Pleasure, always pleasure. Please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Over to you, Sneha. I think you were supposed to announce about the feedback forms. Friends, don't leave. We have to fill. We have a feedback form also.
Now I
Thank you, ma'am, for beautifully proposing the vote of thanks. Now I request everyone to kindly stand up in the honor of the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Now I request everyone to please switch on your camera for taking the screenshot. Thank you everyone. Now you can switch off your camera. Attendance cum feedback link has been shared in the chat box. E-certificate of participation will be given to only those who fill the feedback form. Attendance cum feedback link has been shared in the chat box. E-certificate of participation will be given to only those who fill the feedback form.